We begin our deeper exploration of the science behind chanting by looking at what brings most of us to try it out. Although we are all different people, there is at least one thing which is in common to everyone. We all seek happiness and relief from suffering, but what is real happiness? There is a story about a man who was far away from his family when he got news that his daughter was ill, and she had to be taken to the hospital. The entire day he was in meetings, and when he returned to his hotel, there was a devastating voicemail message. The hospital had called him saying that sadly, his daughter had died. He called his wife in the hospital, but she had already left. He called her at home, but she wasn't answering. This was before cell phones. He immediately packed up all of his things and drove home to be with his wife. It was the most miserable night of his life. When he came home, he was shocked to find his daughter alive and well, and he soon found out there was a mix-up with another girl in the hospital who had died. Was he happy? You might think so, but truthfully, it was just relief from suffering, no? Real happiness must be more than just the absence of pain. Let's take a look at what makes us really happy, and then we'll look at how chanting fits in. Click the buttons here and try looking at different paths to well-being. In the presentation you just read, you looked at different ideas of where happiness lies. Were any of them complete? What's more, how long can they last? Sensual pleasure may bring us happiness, but it can also bring us distress. The first bite of a delicious dessert is certainly enjoyable, but the third helping, our bodies call out, "No more!" As we demonstrated in the last segment, even if we are successful in all of our material parts of our well-being, there is still something missing. Plus, for more people, success in all of the ways we've been talking about remains elusive. Even when everything is going well, stress, depression, anxiety, and other forms of mental ill-being are all too common. Is fractured and complete well-being inevitable? Or is there a way to find true happiness which is unaffected by the world around us or even our own body and mind? The Bhagavad Gita describes 3 kinds of happiness, according to 3 different quality or modes of nature. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is like nectar, which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be in the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from the very beginning and end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be in the nature of ignorance. Here we find a clear description of what true happiness lies in self-realization. In other words, it's finding the source of happiness within ourselves. Pursuing happiness through our senses may be enjoyable now, but in the end, suffering is inevitable. This is happiness in passion, in Sanskrit rajas. In fact, much of so-called happiness derived from sensual pleasure is simply pain in disguise, based on delusion or happiness in ignorance. In Sanskrit it's called tamas. There must be a better way. The Gita describes happiness in goodness. In Sanskrit it's called sattva. Finding this happiness may be difficult, like poison, in the beginning, as it requires us to turn away from much of our material outlook in life. But in the end, we achieve a truly sustainable happiness, the actual nectar. In any case, it appears that so much of our suffering and happiness comes from things beyond our control, like our environment, our bodies, and other people. And what to speak of death, which brings an end to all of our earthly plans for finding happiness, no matter how successful they may be. Then there's the problem of ignorance. Though for some ignorance is bliss, for most of us there are big questions about life and its meaning and purpose, that when left unanswered, they create an emptiness within our heart. The path of chanting and bhakti yoga is designed to come to a complete answer to all of the real problems that we face. In the next topic, we'll go further down this path, looking for the big question, who am I?